Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Wall Street Reporter's next Superstock CEO live chat. Today, we have dynaCERT. DYFSF is the symbol in the US, DYA on the TSX. We have Jim Payne, the CEO, and we have Trevor Birch. He is the mayor of Woodstock, Ontario. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So, I think one of the things that we're gonna start talking about is, the recent the deal that you guys are doing to deploy the technology with Woodstock's diesel fleet. But Jim, for anybody that's new to the story, and we have a lot of investors that have recently joined, can you give us a quick snapshot of what dynaCERT does?
Absolutely.
And the market opportunity?
Sure. So, dynaCERT, we are a public company. What we do is we have a very unique electrolysis system that is adopted to a diesel engine to enhance the burn. By doing that, we improve the fuel economy on an average 10 to 15%. More importantly, we reduce the emissions clear across the board, north of 50%. And this is something that we have spent a lot of time and a lot of money having developed and tested, and then having certified globally around the world. We are today, we've got products, all around the world, everywhere from North America. We're in Europe. In Europe, we've had this thing tested and certified through TÜV North and TÜV South. We are in India, and our product was certified there through ICAT. We're in the, out in the Middle East and Mexico and North America. So, we're growing very quickly. Like I said, our product enhances the burn. By doing that, improves the fuel economy. It pays for itself in less than a year. Our first go-to-market was transport trucks. Today, we've moved from transport trucks to everything from city buses to garbage trucks, which is, which Mayor Trevor is going to talk about. But also, we are in shipping, rail, mining equipment, and so, with our technology, also we have worldwide patents on this. And then we've also got the worldwide patents on the means and methods of monitoring and monetizing carbon credits. We certainly believe that that is a huge future for this. And as we've just recently announced, our product has been certified by the United Nations Smart Sustainable Cities, and that's what, really intrigued Mayor Trevor to join on board. We've got several municipalities in that, but the reality is Woodstock and Honorable Mayor Trevor here has been the first to really grab and run with this thing, and we're very proud of that.
Okay, so before I turn to the mayor, Jim, I want to ask you from the investor's perspective. Kind of the bottom line is, what does the technology do? Do people, when a user buys it, do they save money on fuel? Do they get better engine performance, carbon credits? What's in it for them?
Sure, that's a great question. So, and what we do is we deliver a measured amount of hydrogen and oxygen to the intake of an internal combustion engine to enhance the burn. By doing that, we improve the fuel economy, like I said, 10 to 15%, and we give the engine a much cleaner burn, and by doing that, it reduces the emissions so significantly. But even besides that, to the end users, we really do, with our technology, it really does reduce their downtime and their maintenance costs to a unit, because their engines run so much cleaner and so much more efficient.
Okay, so this is, we'll get into the billion-dollar opportunity, but first I want to ask the mayor, in your own words, now this is actually a customer. This is not just you talking, Jim. Mayor Birch, what went into the thinking? Why did you decide to deploy the hydrogen technology?
Well, thank you for that question. And the community that I come from, we're at the crossroads of southwestern Ontario. And as I like to mention to my children, it might sound a little bit like Sesame Street. Woodstock is brought to you by the letter A. And we are heavily involved in agriculture. We're the dairy capital of Canada and home to Canada's largest outdoor farm show, which includes a lot of international investors coming into our country and to my community. And on the automotive side, we have, of course, a lot of Japanese investment in our community. We're located equally distant between Detroit, the former auto capital of the world, and of course the honeymoon capital of the world, Niagara Falls, and equidistant to Canada's financial capital, which is Toronto. So within our setting, we have the Hino assembly plant. So a lot of those Hino trucks, mid-sized trucks you see going down the highways all through North America, they're assembled in our community. And of course, with Toyota having their factory located there, when they, as the world's largest automotive company, we looked at their renewable energy plan. They came out with a plan for 2050 on renewable energy and are making steps in that direction. So in fact, the County of Oxford, where Woodstock is located as the heart of the County of Oxford, I brought forward a motion 5 years ago, and it was met with unanimous approval towards our sustainability goals to be 100% renewable energy, the same as Toyota, by the year 2050. And we've set to work on that plan. And when we look at that plan, we know that it's a lofty goal and it's a ways off. But I look at my own children and I think about the day that they begin having children, those grandchildren of mine that have not been born yet. And I know that taking these steps is what's so important. So since that goal was created, we've had a lot of attention from academia, and I've had the great opportunity to be able to be involved in renewable cities and a lot of speaking engagements where I can help inspire other governments and other levels of government to just make those steps in the right direction. So at this point in time, the city of Woodstock, we had looked at electric buses, and council had a little bit of apprehension because of the large capital costs that would be needed in order to switch over our fleet. And when we look at the duty cycles and our assets, our community is about 46,000 people, and the greater population for Oxford County is about 110,000 people. So this was a logical step, a proven technology that is not only going to help reduce those noxious gases, but also at the same time improve our maintenance and downtime cycles on our diesel vehicles, and of course save money and fuel. So as a form of good governance, it was Thursday last week that City Council voted unanimously to acquire and install 2 units to begin with, one on one of our public transit buses and the other on a garbage compactor. And our chief mechanic had many discussions with the more technical people that are here at dynaCERT, of course, and felt very confident. And of course, council, as we report back to our citizens, rather than outfit our entire fleet all at once, we were able to select vehicles where we would be able to have real-time results that monitor the difference between one of our units with the hydrogen set installed versus one without. And then council will be able to wholeheartedly switch over the entire fleet. And of course, in the meantime, as I mentioned about the agriculture side, there is a lot of opportunity in agriculture with the new technologies. So having this installed on some of those heavy pieces of equipment that bring the food energy to cities, I figured this would be a real win. We could showcase this as, again, steps in the right direction to the future.
Yeah. Okay. So now it makes a lot of sense. It's kind of, so Woodstock is actually, it's an interesting kind of case study, because you're kind of, again, you're at that kind of intersection of, diesel, manufacturing trucks. You got the agriculture, you have tractors, you have the bus. So it's an interesting case study. So I guess one of the things probably that a lot of people in the audience are thinking is, okay, so you looked at, okay, you're a progressive city, you want better air quality, sustainability, all of that. So you looked at, electric buses, natural gas, other, and what was the kind of the cost benefit analysis between those, alternative, fuels or whatever versus dynaCERT?
Well, right off the bat, it's about the full capital cost. So you're saving money right up front by going with a unit like this, because you're not changing over your fleet to a different type of medium for the energy. And then the maintenance. So again, we could look at from a perspective of, we go out and buy completely different technology, and those capital costs that are up front is going to be too much for our community to handle, converting everything over at once. Whereas this, the units will effectively pay for themselves in very short time frame because of the savings in maintenance. So as we continue to invest the citizens' money wisely, we keep that eye to the future, and we'll continue to revisit, reevaluate, and of course encourage others to do the same.
It's very interesting. And so you're in touch with other mayors of similar size cities, other across, I guess, Canada, North America, the world. Like, how many colleagues do you have sort of in this who are like-minded, who would be interested in evaluating the dynaCERT technology?
That's right. So one of the connections that I have, of course, because we're kind of a neutral territory, the people of the Friendly City in Woodstock, we don't have any universities located directly in our community. And so again, neutral ground. So the first connections were made with academia through Renewable Cities. And as that continued to expand, the plan that Woodstock put together for our transition to the future was viewed the world over. So I've been speaking about it in Japan. I've spoke about it in Taiwan. I've spoke about it in Southern California, and I will go anywhere to wave the flag high for my community and to point out the good work that people are doing in the community with an eye to the future.
Okay, so it's interesting. So basically, so Jim, so essentially that Woodstock could serve as a good kind of case study for future adoption. Getting other cities to take on the dynaCERT technology worldwide, really.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right, Jack. And the reality is, we've got several municipalities that have already, in talks with us. And I know that, Mayor Trevor has already talked to other mayors and municipalities also. But we've got municipalities here in Canada. We've also got major cities now in Europe, and certainly because of the Smart Sustainable City certification we got, that is certainly all of a sudden, really created a lot of eyes on this. But it was interesting. I mean, just in the last couple of days since this press release went out, there has been more newspapers have picked this story up. I mean, this story has gone viral just within the last couple of days. So it is really wakening up a sleeping giant there, which I think is going to be a huge opportunity, for our technology, and at the same time, a huge opportunity to, help better this world by reducing these emissions.
No, it's really, it's kind of, it's a win-win situation. I mean, essentially, somebody who's running a city, and obviously you have budgets, you got a lot of expenses, so you want to be able to save money at the same time. You do need to have it's that clean air is it's very important for quality of life, and it's becoming more and more of an issue. So Mayor, are you going to be taking advantage of? I think Jim, you have like a kind of this financing program available, or is that going to be rolled out for cities?
We can certainly offer that for cities. I know that there's also, but I mean, most cities, they have their own way of financing things, but there's also, different government subsidies for municipalities not to help in this opportunity too. So.
Okay. No, because I think one of the key points that I think is very compelling about the story is that obviously the technology pays for itself. I mean, you're basically making money after 10 months, a year or so. But once you offer that
fuel savings, Jack, and this is where Mayor Trevor really has focused also, and so has his has his engineering team or mechanics team and everything like that, they're looking at also the reduced downtime. And
Okay.
that's something I know, we see city buses every day, especially here in Toronto. I see city buses every day being towed, because of the downtime, because they plug up with the DPF systems and that. And so, with that reduced downtime, I mean, as Mayor Trevor has said, and also, so many others have said, I mean, that downtime in itself has such a huge cost to the municipalities, with this technology, it's going to reduce that downtime so significantly.
That's an interesting point, because I could tell you, I remember when I was a kid, I would ride the city bus, to go to school, and this was these buses that they break down, and there's nothing more frustrating. People get irritated when there's a bus sitting there. So I could definitely see that as a key point. How so as the consideration of the buying decision, saving on downtime, what percentage of the decision is that? Let's say fuel savings is, I don't know, 50% clean air or whatever, X percent, in terms of what percent?
From our perspective, and my background was that of accounting and finance. I worked for municipal government and doing applications to our senior levels of government, the national and provincial, which would be your states, of course. And through that, when we looked at this, it was just like my accounting hat was back on. So we were looking at the full life cycle costs of the assets. And so it's going to save us money because of that maintenance and downtime automatically. That pays for the unit. Then the fuel savings, and we'll determine based on our unique community and the way that it'll be used on our equipment. We're looking forward to seeing results that are similar to all of the different independent tests that have taken place. But again, we'll get to see it operating in our community and through all conditions. So yet again, we'll be able to encourage others. Take a look. It's going to save so much money, plus help the environment. And it'll inspire people in your own communities as you make these decisions that are steps in the right direction for the future. It'll inspire them to look for other opportunities. Already, since it was approved in our community last Thursday, the scuttlebutt at the coffee shops has been about many of the companies that operate in the community that have diesel engines and how soon they can get their hands on this type of thing.
Very interesting. Well, I tell you what I appreciate about you, Mayor Birch, is that you're because of your accounting background, you're focused on on running a tight ship. That's very a lot of cities in the U.S. could definitely learn something from you. I'm not mentioning any names of cities here, but okay. So let's open up for some questions. We got a bunch of questions coming in. I think we have, these are coming in randomly, so I think some of them are about the thing, but let's go to Jason. Is this for Apple or Android? Is this the right question? Is this an app? Is it an app possibility here or no?
I see the question, and they say, is Hydrolytica different than the app? Absolutely. Hydrolytica is it's like a fleet management system on steroids. I mean, the data and everything, I mean, what people see on an app is very limited, but what the full reporting from the Hydrolytica, I mean, there is so much information readily available there. It's unbelievable.
Okay, I think Jim, for anybody that might be new, can you explain what Hydrolytica is and how that relates to this? So
our unit, I mean, our unit is fully computerized, and then there is a unit that plugs into the OBD port of an engine where it gathers information from the engine where it's showing in live time. I mean, the fuel savings, the reductions in emissions, but there is so much more on that. With this, we can determine the actual gross vehicle weight of, so there can be true comparables, done. And but then, you look at a fleet management system that trucking companies put on. I mean, our hydrolytic has all of that plus. So, I like to say, our hydrolytic is like a fleet management system on steroids.
Okay. So Mayor, so that was, and you had an opportunity to test out the hydrolytica, and how it compares to your existing fleet management applications?
One of the things I've learned in my 6 years being an elected official is that I never want to be the smartest person in the room. So I have a great team of experts behind me that have looked at everything inside out, backwards, top to bottom. And when I get the thumbs up from them, and their credentials are much more specific than my own, I know that I don't even need to look at the app, and we're getting thumbs up across the board.
Okay. We got a comment, I guess, from Gary. Jim, do you see this? Okay, so he's saying a 10% savings.
Fuel savings is huge. A return on investment as short as 6 months. I mean, that's certainly true. It depends on the truck. I mean, we have a calculator on our website where a person can plug in the mileage and the fuel and everything like that, where they can come up with the fuel savings. The fuel savings is very important, but it was interesting. I mean, the question you asked a little while ago, I mean, how does the fuel savings, versus the emission reduction versus the downtime, how does that translate to different people? And we see this all the time. I mean, we've got one dealer, his whole focus on marketing this is a reduction in downtime. He says, I see it time and time and time again. He says, just a reduction in downtime on transport trucks, this unit pays for itself. Somebody else looks at it, it's all about the fuel savings. And then, there's others, like municipalities and stuff like that, that the emissions are also so important. And of course, the emission reductions, as we've talked about before, we're in a process of carbon credits. So once that can translate to carbon credits, I mean, that is an additional whole income stream for both the end user and for dynaCERT.
Okay, again, for anybody that's new, let's talk about the carbon credits, and then Mayor, if you want to add your comments. Jim, how does that work? What's the kind of the opportunity in the carbon credits for the company and the users?
Well, I mean, the opportunity I believe is huge, and this is something we have the worldwide patent on the means and methods of monitoring and monetizing carbon credits within emission reductions. We are working with Verra, which is the governing body, worldwide for this. We've been working with them for close to a year now. We're working with and also a consulting company in the UK that specializes in this. So we are in the process of having our technology certified for carbon credits. This has never been done before, within emission reductions. So this is a whole new thing for them. The important part of that is, they look at how is this verifiable. And it's verifiable through our hydrolytica. Like without the hydrolytica, this could never ever be achieved. But with the hydrolytica, it literally shows real-time verification of the emission reductions, which is then converted to greenhouse gases.
Okay.
On, let's say, an average long-haul trucker, their carbon credits at today's price of carbon credits, which is a traded commodity. There's a trading platform exists specifically for that. On one large haul truck, an average of $3,000 a year in carbon credits, where it would be a shared revenue stream. They cannot get that without dynaCERT, and this certainly is a huge potential for an income stream for dynaCERT, where it is split. So whether it's an end user, it's a municipality, it's a trucking company, whoever it is, they get half those carbon credits. dynaCERT maintains half of those carbon credits. So again, that is an additional revenue stream for them, over and above all the additional savings.
Okay, so a city like Woodstock, how much can you earn from the carbon credits? Let's assume you deploy the technology, across your entire diesel fleet. Have you kind of looked at those numbers?
Actually, we didn't even look at those numbers. We were just looking at it from that life cycle perspective. So anything additional,
basically,
excellent. And, cherry on top of that cake.
Absolutely.
So,
okay, so it's interesting. So basically, so I think it's almost more important than the fuel savings is the reduction of downtime.
that's correct.
Okay, so that's the real thing. Okay. Jim, we got a question. You got that 4,000 unit backlog we've been talking about. When, I guess JMac is asking, when is that going to show up in an earnings report?
Well, we are now starting to fill these orders. I mean, it will be. I mean, you got to realize. I mean, even once a unit is manufactured, I mean, we get the purchase order, then it's manufactured, then it's shipped, and once it's fully paid and installed on their vehicle is when it is recorded as a revenue for us. So I mean, it goes from from a purchase order to deferred revenue, and then to the revenue. So it'll certainly be over the next few quarters but it'll be an ongoing stream of this happening.
Okay. Question here. Asking about, are there European cities also testing the technology?
There is. We've actually got a couple of European cities right now, but we're working with the city of Austria, but we've got other cities right now that once everything is finalized, and we will certainly be looking forward to press releasing this. But yes, there's a lot of interest right now within the European cities.
Okay, is this? I think this. Is this? I guess he's talking about. This is Austria, right? This question. Carinthia,
Austria. Yes, it is, and that's what I said. I mean, we've got ongoing work going on with the Austrian government right now.
Okay. I think did we talk about this? You're not going to pick up some passenger cars, are you?
That's not our focus. That is certainly a focus in Europe. I mean, reality is, like I said on our last one, our last call, I have a brand new Ford diesel pickup. I've got a unit on it. And I did that for my own satisfaction. And it literally took my fuel economy from 12.5 liters per 100 kilometers to 9.5 on an average. And my truck, I mean, this thing is recording it on a continual basis, but it was not designed for that application. I mean, in Europe, we are looking to joint venture to develop units for the passenger vehicles. That's not a big focus for us here in North America. Certainly our focus has been everything from buses to transports to to mining equipment to heavy equipment, because that's where the economics really are.
Okay, here's a relevant question for Ontario. How does your unit handle cold?
Oh, we actually have got patented technology how it handles the cold. I'm not going to go into details on it, but I mean, our unit is designed to work from minus 40 degree weather to 40 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. So that is all incorporated in our unit.
Okay. Look, Rick is asking any news from the Ontario government?
Any news or any interest? There is ongoing interest with them. There is planned meetings going, already in place. When things take place, we will certainly be happy to publicly announce that.
Okay. That's the German partner.
Yeah. Our German partners are still very much on board. We're working with them. We're working. We've also, as we just announced, with All Trucks in Germany. I mean, All Trucks is, that's like the Flying J here in North America. Go across North America, you see the Flying J where they've got the truck centers, where they've got, everything from, a trucker can go in there and spend the night, have their truck serviced, something like that. All Trucks has 800 centers across Europe, and we just announced their involvement.
Okay. Is the Canadian government issuing carbon credits?
The Canadian government's not into the carbon credit business whatsoever. The carbon credits are, like I said, that is a whole separate entity. It's not involving any government anywhere in the world. I mean, it is a total separate entity. That's where we're working with.
Okay, Mayor, a question for you. Do you get government credit to buy the technology?
So within the way our structure works here, anyone who fills up gasoline or diesel at the pumps in our community pays a tax that gets submitted to our provincial and federal governments. And then they, in turn, have municipalities, cities like mine, apply for funding to put towards improvements in our transit system. So in fact, yes, we're utilizing those gasoline taxes to help clean up our own fleet.
Okay. Question for Jim. How are you funding the assembly plants?
How are we funding the assembly plants elsewhere? We are in talks where it would, I mean, none of this has been set in stone. There is joint ventures where there is, interested parties doing a joint venture with us in different parts of the world. But, once that is fully, deployed and we will certainly, again, we're a public company, that is certainly a material event when the time comes and all the details are ironed out, that will become public information.
Okay. Jim, I wanted to ask you, one of the things I had on my list there is, can you talk about the deal announced last week with all trucks in Europe, some details about how that will work and what that means for dynaCERT's expansion in Europe?
Yes, well, I mean, all trucks, I mean, that was where I was just talking about. I mean, all trucks is like the Flying J's here in North America, only they're much larger. They've got 800 centers across Europe. So all trucks, are going to be promoting our product and offering our products. So, if a trucker comes in, they want to buy a unit, they could literally spend the night there, spend the night, eat there. The truck is serviced. It's a unit is installed. They drive away the next day.
Oh, interesting. It's like a turnkey operation. Okay, got a question here. You ordered a Carbon Clean 3,000 unit order. You see that, Jim?
So it's asking if 3,000 units ordered Carbon Clean units are given in exchange for subscription revenue. Will those show up as full unit sales? They are, I mean, that's done through our subsidiary, which is Dish. Dish is set up in such a way that it, will have an ongoing revenue stream. So the unit is wholesaled to Dish, and then from there, it is part of this revenue stream through the subscription.
Okay, so this is the financing thing we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. So it's actually you actually term this a subscription. It's interesting. Okay, so it's a subscription service. It's like a SaaS product.
Right.
Okay, so we got Simon asking about Toronto. Is Toronto going to be using your technology for their fleets?
That's a great question, and right now I'm not at liberty to talk about it.
Okay. How often does the hydrogen require maintenance?
How often does it require maintenance? I mean, the only thing it requires as far as maintenance is the filling of distilled water. That is, and it goes per miles or per hours. And I know we went through this number yesterday. And
50 hours, 50 to 70 hours.
Yeah, so it's every 50 to 70 hours it requires a refill of water. Obviously, I mean, this, through our app, where the driver has us, they're notified, when it's running low. It's no different than a fuel tank on a vehicle, so, but that's all it requires is the distilled water. Now, every year and a half, give or take, depending on the hours, it will go through what we call a regen, where, whether it's the end user's mechanics or, or our service providers, where it's like a 15-minute regen, where it goes through a complete flush and a regen of the electrolysis units. But it's a very quick, very easy.
So basically, the user just has to fill it up with, with distilled water every 50 hours of engine time.
That's correct.
Okay. So we got, I guess, commenting that Toronto may be deploying the technology. Okay. So let's see. What any other questions we have from the audience? Okay, you guys, we got a couple minutes left here. Okay, I think we're kind of well, maybe they'll come in. So Jim, just maybe if we can wrap up. So the bottom line is, if you can just for the audience, the size of the market opportunity in terms of dollar terms that you're going after with just, let's say, just deployments in cities, municipalities, etc. For these.
Well, I mean, I look at the cities and municipalities. I mean, certainly, we look at here in our own backyard, but once we start looking globally, I mean, it's massive. I mean, there is Woodstock, which we're so thrilled to be part of, has taken a very aggressive stand, to really flagship this. But there are municipalities all across the world. There is, I mean, literally hundreds of thousands of applications, and I think everybody knows. I mean, our unit sells for, it's just over $8,000 plus installation. But as far as putting out a forecast on that, I'm not prepared to do that.
Okay, and it's interesting today. The electric. One of the questions I think a lot of investors are asking is, okay, is there a future for diesel? With electric being in the news. Was it Nikola is in the news today? They got a short seller attack. So can you, Jim? Can you explain exactly what the future is for your technology in a world that is kind of moving to electric?
And I think that's a great question, and I'm asked it a lot of times. There's definitely a use for electric vehicles. I'm not here, running down electric vehicles, but you look at the typical diesel engine, for the bigger applications and stuff like that. I don't think they're going electric anytime soon. As I talked about before, I mean, you look at the Class 8 trucks. A grocer chain here in Canada that's using our technology. When Tesla first came out and announced that they were going to build a Class 8 truck electric, this company, I think they put an order in for 5 units. I called him up and I said, I just read in the news you did this. He laughed. He said, Jim, he said, it was the cheapest PR we'd ever done in our life. He said, we put a very small deposit down. He said, it's going to be years before we get these. But he says, the reality is, he said, you look at the long haul trucks. He said, right now, he said, a long haul truck, he said, 1/3 of the payload will lose in battery weight. He said, the life or the span that these trucks can go when they're new is 8 hours on a charge, and then they require 8 hours of recharging. He said, our trucks here in North America run 24/7. We've got, drivers that some sleep while others drive and stuff like that. He said, for the long haul trucks, he said, this will never work. It'll never happen. But certainly, I mean, for city delivery trucks and stuff like that, it may be an application. But let's face it. I mean, I just watched the news the other day. I mean, in California, with the fires going on, everything, they're telling everybody, turn your air conditioners off, turn this off, turn that off, because they're having all these brownouts and everybody's blowing breakers. What would they do if everything was electric?
Yeah, they can't supply the electricity for all these vehicles. It's interesting. Oh, we got a question about India. Jim, you have something going on in India?
Well, we've got several things going on in India. I mean, India delayed for weather. I mean, that was on fishing boats. That had nothing to do with the with the buses and trucks that we've got on in India. But yes, there was a delay on fishing boats because of the weather. But I mean, that was a year ago. I don't know what people are still talking about, but.
Okay. So I guess a lot of people want to know, what kind of news flow can we expect between now and year end?
News flow, I expect to see quite a flow of news. I think, as we've just, I mean, the summer's just got over. I mean, we've just finished Labor Day. I mean, now everybody's getting back to, some sort of reality and some sort of normality, although I'm not sure what that's even going to look like. But As far as news flow, there is so many things in the hopper right now. I expect to see a very strong flow of news.
Okay. Let's see. Is there okay? I guess a kind of a related question. Any other partnerships that you're going to be announcing? So,
is there any other partnerships? No, I'm not sure what they're talking about as far as partnerships. I mean, partnerships. I mean, is there other new? We got dealers. We got companies from around the world on literally coming in on a daily basis. Asking for dealership rights and stuff like that. We are really vetting those very closely to make sure that we align ourselves with the right companies. But I mean, partnerships. I mean, sure. I mean, we've just partnered with Mayor Trevor and the city of Woodstock, and we expect there'll be a lot more of those.
But okay. In terms of the COVID slowdown, that's been resolved now? Yeah.
That has been resolved. Yes, that was resolved back. I think it's been 3 weeks now. I mean, as I think most people knew, I mean, during that COVID time, we put in a whole new assembly line and stuff like that. So certainly over the last couple of weeks, I mean, it's been a matter of bringing everybody back, everybody trained, to go through this. But other than that, there is no further slowdown from us. Now there is certainly a slowdown as far as traveling. I mean, for us or for even our trainers to be traveling out of the country right now, it's very difficult. And if they traveled out of the country, they got to go 14 days, in quarantine to come back. And some countries, you fly there, you got to go in 14 days quarantine before you can even meet with somebody. So, but above and beyond that, I mean, certainly with our dealers and with everything like that, everything is moving ahead very aggressively.
Okay. We're going to wrap up here. Just 2 more questions. Jim, how many units are you producing a day? I think they're asking.
Well, this is just being ramped up as we speak. As I said, over the last couple of weeks, I mean, this has been, training for the whole new, assembly line and stuff like that. As we announced before, we've got, as soon as this is in full operations, we're at 100 units a day per shift.
Okay, so we're gonna the last question I'm gonna ask, one for the mayor and one for you, Jim. So for the mayor, we have just in case Jeff Bezos of Amazon is watching. He's got a huge fleet of trucks. I know they're always looking to launch those one of those big office complexes that they have with 50,000 workers. I know they have contests every once in a while where they're going to relocate these HQs. So if they're considering Woodstock, what are the top 3 reasons why Amazon should choose Woodstock?
Well, we're located in the heart of southwestern Ontario at the crossroads, and we're equidistant to all of the major markets on the eastern seaboard of North America, and with our rail connection, of course, all the way through to the west. And number 2, within a 45-minute drive, a very easy drive outside of our community, we have a labor pool of over 2 million highly skilled individuals. Many people in southwestern Ontario have advanced degrees from universities, and of course with our great levels of government here in Canada that have helped support those universities and colleges, I like to say we get Stanford engineers at a fraction of the price. And just with our council deciding to get started with this partnership with dynaCERT, installing these units, that should really solidify the fact that we take a lot of care in making logical decisions, taking those steps in the right direction to the future.
Okay, yeah, good fiscal management and good clean air. So that's those are 2 good reasons. Jim, for you, our favorite question at the Wall Street Reporter, top 3 reasons why, in your opinion, investors should consider dynaCERT shares today.
Well, I would say it's pretty simple. I think dynaCERT is expanding, it's growing very quick. I think I truly believe our stock is grossly undervalued right now. I think the upside potential is so huge, and I think as we partner with Woodstock and other municipalities, but also other large trucking companies, throughout North America and throughout the world. And the mining industry. I mean, the mining industry is a massive market for us that is warming up very, very quickly. I think the upside potential is huge.
Okay. On that note, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. I want to thank everybody in the audience again for participating, and we'll see you all on the next live stream.
Thank you, Jack.